Welcome to Gout and the Ketogenic Diet. It has been 5 years since I was first diagnosed with gout in 2016, and it has been 1 year since I uploaded the video Gout and the Ketogenic Diet, and it is time for 1 year in review. What do we know now that we didn't know back then? 75% of the people that are diagnosed with gout also have metabolic syndrome, prediabetes, diabetes, obesity, or cardiovascular disease. These different diseases usually appear in an individual together. So what does that mean? It means that most likely the underlying cause, the underlying thing that is driving those diseases, the gout, the diabetes, etc., is most likely the same. The driving factor of these diseases is the standard American diet, which is high in sugar and processed food and carbohydrates in general. The high sugar, high processed food, high carbohydrate diet causes high insulin expression or chronic insulin expression, which stimulates systemic inflammation. Specifically to gout, it is the high concentration of fructose in sugar that drives the formation of high uric acid in people eating high sugar, processed food, and carbohydrates in their eating plan. The elevated uric acid causes damage in what is called the glomerulus in the kidneys, which is responsible for filtering our blood. The increased uric acid damages the glomerulus, causing a problem with the excretion of uric acid. So our uric acid rises, and then what happens? Gout attack. What exactly do we need for the gout flare? It goes without saying that we need uric acid in the blood, but we also need systemic inflammation, and we also need the activation of the NLRP3 inflammasome. The latter two things, the systemic inflammation and the activation of the NLRP3 inflammasome, comes from the overall systemic inflammation being caused by the high chronic carbohydrate load that individuals are eating, and subsequently the chronic high expression of insulin. We know that going keto and getting keto adapted lowers the systemic inflammation and inhibits the NLRP3 inflammasome. That's good news. But what about the elevated uric acid? Because in some of us, even though after being keto adapted we see the uric acid levels come down, they still seem to be stuck at the high end of the reference range for uric acid. So what gives? Why is the uric acid remaining elevated in us, putting us at future risk of gout flares, even though we are on the ketogenic diet? We know that uric acid is normal both in people that don't have high uric acid and in gout sufferers. So we are both putting the same amount of uric acid into the urine. So what's going on? In order for gout persons to have the same amount of uric acid in our urine as somebody who is, let's just call them normal, we have to have serum uric acid, which is 2 to 3 milligrams per deciliter, higher than somebody who has uric acid in the normal range, in order to filter uric acid into the urine so that we're producing normal amounts of uric acid. So that points at a dysfunction in the kidney. Let's just talk about my own numbers for a minute. I've been on the ketogenic journey now for 3 years, and over the last year my uric acid has been running between 8 and 8.5 milligrams per deciliter. What did I just tell you? I said that for gout patients that we are running uric acid in our blood 2 to 3 milligrams per deciliter higher than somebody who has normalized uric acid. So in our case, we're running an elevated uric acid, right? Now, just for simplicity, subtract 2 mg per deciliter, and what do we get? We get my uric acid in the normal range. What's the point? This means that the kidneys are having problems excreting uric acid. This looks like it's a problem with the filtration unit, which is the glomerulus. So the kidney defect explains the high uric acid after keto adaption. How do we fix the kidney defect? Can we expect that this is going to be something that happens overnight? And I suspect that fixing it is also going to be dependent on the extent of the damage. So the question is how long? And that is something that will have to be in subsequent presentations, because honestly, folks, I have no idea what we're talking about in terms of time. One of our YouTube subscribers who goes by the handle of Connor McLeod has provided me with some science that focuses on the extract of a plant called Tribulus terrestris that is showing promising effects for its restorative properties of the filtration unit in the kidney. If you like this presentation and you're seeing us for the first time, please click the subscribe button and hit the bell next to it so you know when the next time is when we publish one of our presentations.